The Dragon Brothers are back in Double Dragon Gaiden, and this is the game that we didn't realize we needed, and we suddenly got out of nowhere. It got announced a few months ago. So pretty much it kind of plays like you expect Double Dragon. Some people complain about the movement speed in this game, but if you go back, a lot of the classic original Double Dragon games, the characters' movement was a little bit on the slow side. So that doesn't particularly bother me. So the graphics, there's a lot of people that either seem to love or loathe the graphics. It's sort of like a nod to the traditional design, but like they sort of made it like sort of cutesy, sort of with a modernized sort of shading to it. It doesn't bother me. At first it kind of bothered me. I'm like, this looks like a bit too kiddish. Like I prefer the gritty look of the classic games, but I got used to it. So pretty much the backstory of this game is there was nuclear warfare, and now everyone's trying to rebuild. New York City, I think, got hit, and now there's gangs coming out and they've overtaken the city. So it's kind of like the story of Final Fight. I mean, there's only so much you can do in a Double Dragon game with the story. So now it sort of looks like a reboot, sort of prequel, where Jimmy and Billy Lee, they take on the gangs. So it sounds like they're like at the beginning of their career in this storyline. They haven't quite established themselves, and they're joined by Marion and I forgot the other guy, but he's sort of like the heavy, the Hagar, and then Marion's sort of, she has a pistol and she's probably the lightest fighter of the four. Billy's probably the faster mover, better all around her, and then Jimmy's the strongest guy, but then he can't move, and he'll take the hits more. So those are the characters you start with. The whole game is based off of a system like a roguelike beat 'em up system, and all the classic stuff that you love is there. So there's tons of different weapons like pipes and stuff you can pick up. I don't think so much pistols, at least I didn't see any. And then some of the stages have traps. I feel like the levels are quite long, but what makes the game and the levels feel longer is the fact that they've chosen to make this a roguelike beat 'em up, which I think I just said. So if you die in a mission, any of the missions, even if you finished other missions, the game then gives you an offer to either take all your cash and have to start over, or you might get like a credit, like a token. And this token system is the basis of the whole game, where you earn tokens to unlock more characters, artwork, etc. So I think there's 9 other characters you can get. Mostly I think they're like bosses rather than extra characters. Some of the classic characters you expect to unlock from previous games, they're not here unfortunately, so hopefully there's some DLC coming, because I really miss Ranzu. That was my favorite guy from Double Dragon 3. Sound, like a lot of music's remixed music. I loved it overall. The thing I loved at first, I thought it was a really cool idea, the roguelike beat 'em up. And then once you have to redo levels, like I found like it was kind of a challenge to encourage, it's like just tough for me to be motivated to keep playing levels I had already beaten. Like, for example, I'd beaten like 3 of the levels, and then all of a sudden I got to the boss and like took half of his life off, and then I just got creamed. Like, he's just so cheap with his like rushing down attacks and in mid-air attacks, and I'm like, well, back to square one. And I guess that's how they want you to play. Fortunately, you can upgrade your character with different abilities, better strength, defense, better movement, whatever. After each stage, they give you an option. Each character gets to choose one of maybe 5, I think, options. So that helps, and you do start to get better because you get those upgrades, but like, it's just a bummer having to go play through a stage. Like, there were some stages so far I played like 3 to 5 times, and it just sucks because you beat like 3 of the missions out of 4, because there's different gangs in each of the 4 missions, and you have to beat them all. And then there's one last mission from what I remember. So the game, I wouldn't say is short, and it looks great, and the backgrounds are well done, and but the fact you have to replay those stages, like after a while, it sort of grinds my gears a little bit. So like, I was playing this, I loved it. Once I got a bit better at the game, and my character got upgraded, I was like, hey, this is this is a far better game than I originally anticipated, because I was just getting my butt kicked. But it's just a shame that you have to replay the stages, just the way that they've designed it. So music's great, graphics are pretty good, you get used to it, and great style. Enemies variety is pretty good too. There's some enemies a lot like past stuff that we've seen. A lot of the bosses I think are also like remade bosses from past games. Just the whole having to like, it's such a tough grind to unlock the coins, and you have to have 5 to unlock this and 5 to unlock that. I think I barely got 2 or 3, so like I don't know how much grinding they're expecting to do, but it feels like this like a solid 30 to 50 hours, and like I'm just wondering whether, you know, that reward system's balanced enough to justify spending like that many hours just to unlock like an extra character to play in the levels you already are sick of. Like that's my biggest complaint. I love Double Dragon. I'm glad it's back. It's been like 5 or 6 years, something like that. The last one looked like number 2, but was a disappointment. Just how it, you know, didn't feel like a totally new game, because they tried to use an old look of like roughly Double Dragon 2. So I think if they can refine, like just balance it out. I know you can adjust the difficulty and you can earn more cash depending on how you toggle things, but still like at the base of this, it feels like you're replaying the same levels, and it just gets old very quickly having to redo that. So ultimately, I really would love to give it an 8 out or 9 out of 10. It's really like, I don't want to give it lower than a 7, but I really feel like this is like a 6.5, just from the fact that the roguelike portion lets you down from just enjoying like the game and unlocking stuff, and like it just feels too grindy for me. So 6.5, I can see like the way that people have reacted to this game graphically, the roguelike aspect. Like there's a lot of people that really got put off from this game, and it's a shame, because like it could have been, with a few tweaks with the design, it could have been something, you know, a classic return to the classic games. But the fact they tried to do something that was too different and just too grindy ultimately hurts this game's final score. So I'd say 6.5. It's $32, which isn't bad, but it really feels like a $10 or $15 game. And yeah, I'd have to like play it in bits and bits, because unfortunately I just don't like replaying the same 3 missions I just beat and then have to beat them again for the 5th time or whatever. So keep on double spin kicks, and keep on fighting with your dragon. Alright, bye.